guaranteed. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to a spooky chat. La 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 song.
Number 2 of 4.
2 of 4 today. Although the last case I did was really short.
It was good though.
I think what I'm going to have to do is start... I do read them through and I think, oh yeah, that's fine. But I obviously don't do that enough.
Yeah, I suppose we didn't chat as much on the last one.
True.
Either. Usually there's some form of...
opinions.
Yeah.
And or tangents. Yeah.
There wasn't any.
No.
No.
Anything weird or wonderful happened to you this week? Or have you been consuming any terrifying pop culture? You have actually.
Have I?
Because of your new module.
Oh, fairy tales and folk tales.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, the fairy tales, we're going through Charles Perrault, Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm and Hans Christian Andersen. Obviously, the Hans Christian Andersen ones tend to be a bit more... particularly like with The Little Mermaid and things like that. And we're also going to be studying Angela Carter, so The Bloody Chamber, which is a lot of sort of retellings and stuff, and they're more dark and whatnot. So yeah, that's going to be really good. That's going to be really good. It's not weird or wonderful. Mark recently had his, we'll call it a birthday. It wasn't a very happy occasion because of losing Eddie. But not right at the beginning of last year.
It was ages ago.
It was ages ago.
Yeah.
I'd booked to go to Beck Hall, which was, it's the first, there are others now I think, but it was the first plant-based hotel. So I took him there for his birthday and it was quite weird. I was a bit kind of worried about, it's dog friendly, so people do take their dogs there. And, you know, the walks and everything that are around, there's dogs everywhere, but it was really nice. Food was incredible. The people that worked there were incredible. The walks were incredible. We went to Malham Tarn, which is the tallest glacial lake in the UK, something like that.
Oh, wow. Is it in Yorkshire, this place? Right.
Yeah. Malham, near Skipton, if anyone knows where that is. We did the Gordale Scar, which was a beautiful waterfall. Janet's Foss, again, waterfall. Malham Cove. I am not cut out for hiking.
Okay.
You
enjoyed
it? Was, yeah, absolutely. I loved it. But yeah, it was. I am not cut out for hiking anything that's more than 5 steps.
Okay.
Hi.
By the sounds of it, you did very well because you visited lots of awesome places.
And I didn't fall over until the last walk we did, which was Malham Tarn on the day that we were leaving.
Okay. And
slipped right over on my bum because it had been raining, so the mud, it was slippy and what have you. But we did see someone fall a lot worse than what I did. So that was fine.
Were they all right? Or
yeah, it was really funny. It was really funny.
Okay.
They were laughing, so it was,
okay,
fine. No, it was fine. But yeah, I'm not cut out for it, even though I enjoy it.
Okay.
So.
And the actual hall itself, because you know what I'm like with architecture. I love architecture. Was it like kind of like a stately home situation, or
no? But really old buildings.
Okay.
You would have really loved it. I'm desperate to go back already. Really desperate to go back.
I need to find it. I think you did show me pictures, but I can't remember, so I need to... Oh, wow, yeah, it looks absolutely beautiful.
It's stunning.
And the food was good. You didn't have to worry about anything because it was all vegan.
No, and they were like, oh, what milk do you want in your room? Oat, soya, almond, all of that. I'm like, oat, please. And then they knocked on the door one morning and was like, can we replenish your milk? I'm like, yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Brilliant. Oh, well, it looks lovely. Okay,
really want to go back.
Collectively, we highly recommend Beck Hall.
Well worth the drive. Although we went on a Saturday morning, and it's what, 4.25 hour drive, something like that, 4 hours. And the weather was really nice, so it was really busy, and they've got some really narrow roads. And I was driving Mark's Sportage.
Right. Which you're not used to driving, to be fair, are you?
No. which is weird because, you know, limos, vans, not vans, sorry, private ambulances, hearses, things like that. But yeah, I own a very tiny car, very tiny car. And just with how narrow these roads were, it was a bit sort of squeaky bum time at times.
Well, well done for that as well.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And then Alex and Mikey came down the week after. And I tell you what, Cambridge has died of death.
Really, I haven't been into Cambridge for such a long time.
All right, we went to go for food for Mark's birthday. Obviously, Stem and Glory is shut down.
Which you only told me about the other week, and I am absolutely devastated.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal place to go. And Alex, bless her, she found another place called Hank's, and that was all vegan. It was like dirty burgers and things like that, and like live entertainment and whatnot. So we went, and we got there, and on the door it was like kitchen permanently closed.
Oh, for crying out loud.
But it wasn't permanently closed, it was permintly closed. They'd spelt it so wrong.
Oh.
Alex, bless her, she was really upset that that they aren't doing food there anymore, and it was closed as well. But we went to Wagon Mums and we had an amazing meal there.
There you go. Well done.
And we were just happy that we got to spend time with them.
Yeah.
They're lifelines for us.
Yeah.
And the best friends anyone could ever ask for.
They are amazing.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm still reeling over Stem and Glory shutting, and I found out the other week that Project Donut is also shut down.
Yeah, which is really surprising because they were.
I mean, I thought they were kind of.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't realise
hadn't
you didn't know.
Yeah,
they've shut down. I thought they were expanding because they were opening like proper retail spaces.
Yeah, well, they had them in like. I know that there was definitely one university that had a Project D stand.
Yeah.
They were always at like festivals.
Yeah, had loads of pop-ups everywhere. Yeah.
Plus the online service. So
exactly. I recommended them to Tim and he was like, they've closed? I was like, I'm sorry, what?
I beg your pardon?
No. Yeah, it's gone. So the other one that you guys recommended was Donut Time. Was that that you don't recommend that?
Well, I hadn't tried any. It was just one that I found.
One that you found, and then we got donut cakes from there for my birthday.
Yeah, they were like cakey donuts.
Yeah, so that's a good one. But I don't know what it means to pursue other projects.
What,
because we still need donuts.
Yeah, donuts are a project. They're project happy.
Yeah,
livid.
I know. I was absolutely livid. Right. Oh, that was a good catch up. I like that. That was very good. So I've actually discovered this fantastic website, and I don't know how I've not come across it before. It must be the way I search for things. I don't think I'm very good at searching for things because stuff just doesn't come up. Anyway, it's called Paranormal News Daily, and I found some incredible stories on
Isn't this where you got one of your other spooky chats from?
I got the
database thing one from or something.
That's a different one.
Okay.
But I got the survival tale of Mary Vincent was mentioned in there. I then followed that up and found out about it.
Cool. Okay.
But yeah, there's some absolute corkers on there.
We'll put the link in the show notes.
Yes.
For it.
Okay. Well, Goobs, do you do that for us? Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. So under the paranormal news section, there's a sub-page called Uncovering Urban Legends.
Ooh.
And everyone knows we love an urban legend. So the most well-known tales have, I wouldn't say it's a deep dive into them. It's kind of more of a paddle, but they go into them and they sort of go into their origins and the meanings behind them and like what sparked them. So it is really interesting. And they've got some really well-known ones on there, and then there's some not so well-known. So, for example, Nikki Miller explores the Hookman killer legend.
Is that what, like the Candyman's based on or something?
Well, it seems to
no, not that. I Know What You Did Last Summer is what I'm thinking.
And also, I do go on to say, when we've done urban legends in the past, we have actually covered a version of this. So it's quite interesting to say, okay, well, where did it actually start? So yeah, the Hookman killer legend. And it has many variations over time. And like I said, I've talked about this in one of our reps. So this is verbatim from Paranormal News Daily. And this is how supposedly the first version of the story goes. Donald and Sarah went to the movies. I don't know who Donald and Sarah are, but this is what they were.
What did they go and see?
Well, it doesn't say. It just says then they went for a ride in Donald's car.
They go up to some place that's like a lover's lock to get it on.
Much. So they parked up on a hill at the edge of town. From there, they could see the lights up and down the valley. Donald turned on the radio and found some music.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. And sorry, my notes have gone crazy. But an announcer broke in with a news bulletin. A murderer has escaped from the state prison. He is armed with a knife and is headed south on foot. His left hand is missing. In its place, he wore a hook.
He definitely wouldn't have worn a hook in prison.
Maybe he picked it up on the way. I don't know. I don't know him. I don't know her.
I don't know her.
Let's roll up the windows and lock the doors, said Sarah. That's a good idea, said Donald.
Maybe leave as well.
Yeah, right? Maybe just go. That prison isn't too far away, said Sarah. Maybe we really should go home. But it's only 10 o'clock, said Donald. I don't care what time it is, she said. I want to go home.
He just wants to get his leg over, doesn't he?
He does. He wants a bit of nookie. Look, Sarah, said Donald.
My man.
My man. He's not going to climb the hill all the way up here. Why on earth would he do that?
He might be into hiking.
Right?
Not like me.
Maybe he stayed at Beck Hall. Is that the name of it?
Yeah.
Why would he do that?
He's a vegan.
Yeah. It's like, I might be a murderer, but I am a vegan. Even if he did, all the doors are locked. How could he get in? Donald, he could take that hook and break through a window and open a door, she said. I'm scared and I want to go home. Donald was annoyed, saying girls are always afraid of something, which is rude. He said as he started the car, Sarah thought she heard someone or something scratching at the door. Did you hear that? She asked as they roared away. Sounded like somebody's trying to get in. Oh, sure, said Donald. Soon they got to her house. Would you like to come in and have some cocoa? She asked. No.
She did not ask that.
No, he said. I've got to go home. He went around.
But he wanted to stay out later. Now,
yeah,
like, oh,
not
he knows he's not getting it. That's yeah.
Not for cocoa. He went round to the other side of the door to let her out, other side of the car to let her out, and hanging on the door handle was a hook.
Oh, now he's hookless.
Yeah. So apparently,
that would have flown off. Just saying.
I love the way you look at stuff because you're like, hang on a minute.
No,
and it's brilliant.
That if he got up to speed or anything, that wouldn't, unless it was like, you know, when people grow their fingernails really long, they start to curl under. Unless it was like that, it was in there properly. No, it would have flown off. I'm sorry.
Right,
it would have been dislodged. Yeah,
okay.
I know it's the definition of hook. But
Goobs is one side, Allie is the other.
Yeah, because it would have been like flapping in the wind.
And also, we should just leave it and go, oh, my hook's stuck on there.
Oh,
bye.
Nuts.
Just get it back then.
That's like your weapon of choice, is that not?
Unless he's got a backpack full of hooks. Maybe he was hooked and then they drove off. Yeah, possibly.
Definitely would have heard some clunking. I mean, and then you would have stopped and been like, oh, there's a man hanging off the door. And yeah, they didn't. They heard like a scratching. Clunking's different to scratching.
I love this sub-conversation.
I'm so sorry.
Don't apologise, it's brilliant.
I will argue until the cows come home about this. It would have fallen off. He wasn't attached to it. He would have got himself off. Because don't forget, it takes a little while for the car to get going. So he'd been like, oh, I'm hooked. I'll unhook that.
And it was in the sort of 50s, so that would have been an older car.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have been naught to Murica in like 0.6 seconds.
Cube said he needs a mic.
I think maybe you should start joining in these.
Maybe
because
you should.
It might end up being the Allie and Mark show, though. Just arguing with each other.
That's fine. I'm here for it. So the history of this legend, according to the site, first started circulating in America in the early 1950s with the aforementioned version, which is a close call rather than an actual true crime situation. The second version, sometimes described as Don't Look Back, which I've talked about in a previous episode on Urban Legends, and that's the one I know, is much darker, but it does sort of follow a similar storyline. Just to recap, in the newer, more terrifying version, the boy and girl are parked up at a secluded spot, as before. There's a noise, and the boy gets out of the car to investigate. She just wouldn't do. Right. The girl stays in the car and locks the doors. Then after some time, the boy hasn't returned and she starts to hear scraping on the roof of the car. Eventually, the police show up and it turns out the scraping noise was the boy's feet dragging on the roof of the car where the escaped hook man had killed him and hung him from a tree on top of the parked car. The police escort her from the vehicle and tell her, don't look back. And she does, and she sees him. So that's a very shortened version of the one we've told. So it's not really clear when the story morphed from this, there's just a hook on the door, to there's a dead boy hanging from a tree. I mean, that's quite a leap.
Yeah.
And that is much more of a brutal version. But it's thought that this was sometime around the early 1990s. When that happened, which coincides with serial killers becoming the go-to threat for horror movies at this time.
Well, yeah, the 90s were good for the...
Exactly. So in the 90s, there was a shift in pop culture because of social changes, which was also reflected in horror movies and everything connected to them. So the killers in these films very much mirrored society's fears, which is very, very interesting. I love this kind of thing. So when it comes to this urban legend's weapon of choice, the hook, which, as you quite rightly said, he wouldn't have had a hook on his hand in prison because it's a weapon.
Yeah. That would have been confiscated straight away.
Yeah. Maybe he whittled one out of...
Oh, the things they can make.
Right.
All you need is a toothbrush.
So maybe he whittled one out of a toothbrush.
She walked around with it
really,
but put it on the wrong way, and it's just the bristles. I'm gonna scratch you to death.
I'm gonna clean your teeth.
Oh yeah, there may have been someone, an accomplice, waiting for him outside who had a hook. It's like,
he's telling us not to overthink things. We're the queens of overthinking.
It's like Igor or something. It's like, Master, here is your hook.
Yeah, he'd just been waiting outside for ages.
Beats the toothbrush.
He's like, oh, I'll get rid of this. It's rubbish anyway. I was scared of a toothbrush.
Not even electric.
I feel like that would be funnier.
I'm here to clean your teeth. Thanks. Saves me a dentist appointment.
Oh, I love it. So the hook, not the toothbrush, the hook. It's thought that despite the obvious reasons that it's scary looking, the idea might have come from pirates. Because real pirates were and are dangerous murderers who raided and pillaged port cities and towns and often had hooks. So,
did they often have hooks? Or have we just got that from Captain Hook?
Well,
to be fair, one of the fairy tales I've got to study is Bluebeard, so...
There we go.
I can't remember if... I think that's Charles Perrault. So, yeah. I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah. So why this story, though, Alison? The hook killer and similar urban legends are thought to have been shared as a warning about premarital sex and the potential dangers of being alone with a boy.
You need to find Jesus.
Don't go in a car with that boy and do kissing and stuff. You'll get yourself pregnant.
Yeah, you'll get pregnant and you will die. I
need to watch Mean Girls. I haven't seen that in such a long time. So, of course, the standards changed between the 50s and the 90s, but there was still a stigma around the subject, especially aimed at teenage girls.
Yeah.
So it seems like someone just made up that story so that...
I mean, I'm not being funny, but it's on the boy as well. Don't be silly, wrap your willy.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's just like only warning the girls. Don't drop your knickers, otherwise that crazy man off of the prison is going to hook you.
You're going to get murdered if you have sex.
He murdered the boy, though, didn't he? Apparently.
Well, maybe it's to make sure she never has sex, because every time she does, her partner will get murdered.
Yeah.
Or it could have been a disgruntled father.
Yeah, that's Goob's suggestion. Could have been.
Yeah, but then, yeah.
Or overprotective.
Rapey uncle. Sorry, I just swore. I don't know if you could hear it properly.
I didn't hear that. I missed it.
It was more of a... I didn't enunciate properly.
Okay.
It was like under my breath.
Mumble.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's loads and loads of urban legends on there, but another one that they look at, which I don't think we've talked about, is the Slender Man.
We haven't talked about Slender Man, but obviously that is a well-known urban legend.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, it's not really connected with cars, so although saying that...
spooky chats don't tend to be.
Saying that, the urban legend Hookman Killer Man, that was relating to cars, and actually this does relate to cars, sort of, in the like origin story. So, and this is much more of a modern urban legend, didn't start in the 50s, and it goes something like this. Picture yourself in a park, and in the distance, you catch a glimpse of a very tall figure in a dark suit.
To be honest, probably, because if I'm in a park as a teenager, I'm probably drinking Frosty Jacks and getting well drunk in it.
Well, he looks out of place, and I've literally written, mainly because he's in the park and not drinking cider. Great minds, babe.
Yeah, we both did the same thing growing up.
We really did. So apart from that, he is unusually tall and very, very thin. His arms and legs are long and seem disproportionate to his body. He then turns and looks at you, and that is when you notice that his face is featureless.
I mean, how far in the distance? Because if he's in the distance, you might not be able to see that. So
I love your questions. I never know what you're going to ask either, so I can't even think, I'll make sure I include that, because Ali will ask this, because you then ask something completely different.
I do have, my eyesight is terrible. However,
you'd be squinting at him. Hello?
But you said he's in the distance. How far? Because how can you tell that he's featureless?
They didn't tell me. Listen,
look, they've said he's featureless, but if he's that far in the distance, you can't tell.
So
and
if
you are in a park drinking, everyone's featureless at that point.
Cider haze. I've lost where I am.
I'm sorry.
So he turns around and looks at you. Oh no!
How do they tell?
But how do you know? Because he's got no features. So yeah, that's when you notice that he's quite sort of freaky something or other, rather than a drunk weirdo or a crackhead. So you get the heebie-jeebies and you decide to leave, making your way towards your car. There's a connection. You look back to see where he is, but he's not there.
What if he just wanted to play?
Probably just want to drink cider with you.
Oh, can I have a Coke?
Yeah.
Should we go on the swings?
Have you got any more of that Strongbow, please, mate?
Oh, I like that one.
I like that.
So, yeah, you shouldn't be going back to your car if you've been drinking cider.
To be fair,
or any alcohol for that matter.
To be fair, they're not. We've just added that.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
Yes, don't drink and drive, okay? So, he's not there. But as you unlock your doors, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. You can feel him watching you and stalking you. And that's when he will snatch you and you'll never be seen again. That's it.
Oh. Yeah, what does he do with you?
Well, it's quite vague. Much like his features.
What if he's just lonely?
He might just be.
And he just wants to cook you a jacket potato?
Why on earth did that come into your head?
Well, you might just want to cook for someone.
Why a jacket potato?
I'm hungry.
Right, that's what you want, actually.
That's what I want. He might just want, yeah.
He wants cider, a jacket potato, and he has got features. You've just drunk too much cider, and you haven't got your seeing eyeglasses on, so you can't see anyway.
I can't do nothing without my seeing eyeglasses.
I can't do nothing without my seeing eyeglasses. I can't see Goobs, but I imagine he's laughing at you.
I actually... Oh, yeah, I think I see teeth.
I can't
He's
see
smiling.
nothing.
It doesn't happen very often that he smiles at me. Like, he might just want some company. Please, will you eat a jacket potato with me?
So random. I love it. I mean, have you ever heard any sort of stories connected with Slender Man? Any urban legends or...
I thought, wasn't there a young girl that was murdered by her friends and they were going out to the woods to find Slender Man?
Very good, and I've literally got that written in here.
Yes!
Yeah.
What do I get?
Jacket potato. We're such cheap dates. What do you want for dinner, jacket potato?
I like potato.
So yes, you are right, and I will talk about that in a minute. And I remember seeing that on the news.
That was horrific, wasn't it?
But I'd completely forgotten about it until I read this, and I was like, oh yeah, there was that thing, and that was relatively recent.
And there is a horror film about Slender Man. I think it's called Slender Man.
Yeah, you are right. So there are various depictions of him in horror films, and there's a particularly freaky representation of him in The Haunting of Hill House, which really creeps me out. Was that your stomach? I thought that was Slender Man asking for jacket potato outside.
No, it's just my stomach asking for jacket potato.
So, Slender Man seems to have originated on the internet, specifically the Something Awful site created by user Victor Surge, whose real name is Eric Knudsen. If
Sounds
you
like nubbin.
change your name, would you not change it to like... Oh, I don't know. I don't think...
So I think Victor Surge.
It's
It could be better.
yeah.
It could be worse.
I quite like the name Eric, though. So the original story was posted as part of a freaky photo contest, which challenged the participants to manipulate an ordinary photo into something scary. Victor posed for 2 black and white photos with children in a park, and a tall silhouette can be seen looming in the background. This figure appears to be watching the children in the park intently. It's claimed that children had gone missing that day and were never seen again.
Wait, was that part of their story or was that actual news?
It's slightly unclear.
Okay.
I tried to look, and it was written as if it was documented, but then I don't know if that was part of the Something Awful thing. Yeah, exactly. So part of the whole situation. The popularity of this particular urban legend grew exponentially in the mid-2000s, with people adding to the original story and creating slightly different versions as well. The website Creepypasta, which...
Heard of that?
Yeah, I have, and it is actually very cool, which shares many horror stories, has numerous reports of Slender Man sightings.
I wonder if Rotten.com's still a site.
I don't know. But I went on Creepypasta and I looked sort of at Slender Man, and there's so many stories of people, and it's quite good because there's people from all over the world have sort of suggested folklore sort of tales, folklore tales?
Folklore.
Yeah. That might actually be linked to it, which is really interesting, but you can go down a rabbit hole on there and like be gone for hours.
What if there's just a really tall person that lives in the village and is conker hunting? Like in the woods.
Yeah.
And people have been like, oh.
He's tall and skinny.
And then they're being tallest.
Yes. Exactly. So Slender Man was further popularised through a graphic novel series called Marble Hornets, which was created in 2009 by Troy Wagner. It actually ended in 2014, but it's still got a cult following today. And I looked that up, and that is very, very cool.
Is it?
So he's in that a lot. I mean, I love a graphic novel anyway, but that is very, very cool. So what no one expected was that the legend would be the motive for an attempted murder.
So when the graphic novel ended in 2014, that's when the murder happened.
Right, okay. Interesting. So, shockingly, by two 12-year-old girls in America, the pair lured another 12-year-old girl, supposedly their friend, into woods by a public park. There, they stabbed her 19 times. Incredibly, the victim lived, and the two perpetrators were committed to a psychiatric facility. Allegedly, they were so obsessed with Slender Man and were convinced that if they murdered their friend, Slender Man would take them to his house and they could live with him.
And eat jacket potatoes?
Possibly. They didn't mention any food, but why not?
I mean, it's very convenient. It was Slender Man. He made me do it.
Yeah. It
Too young
always
for cider.
amazes me when, first of all, you get one person that
But both
twisted,
of
but
them...
two, it's just like, how did you find each other?
Well, to be fair, kids are so... Well, they were. I don't know what being a kid's like these days. Look at me sound like I'm 80.
I have no idea what kids
They're very impressionable. And yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a very odd thing to think of. Oh, yeah, if we kill this person, we're going to live with Slender Man.
Yeah, let's
what?
kill our friend. Great idea.
Why didn't one of them go, what?
Yeah.
Or they both just went, yeah. I have no idea.
Beats me.
Be interesting to talk to them now, though. So, as well as urban legends, there's like generic paranormal news on the site too. And as the name would suggest, and I've got a few sort of like ghost stories for you now as well from that site.
Okie dokie.
It is very cool. I would definitely recommend visiting it. There's a ton of stuff on there. Trying to remember when the last post was. I think the last post was maybe at the end of 2024-ish. So it hasn't been updated this year that I can see, but there's loads on there. So we do like a creepy doll on this podcast, don't we? And so the story of the haunted doll of Finedon seemed apt for our listeners. And the original article is created by Mark Fisher. So Finedon is a picturesque semi-rural village that sits quietly amidst the country of Northamptonshire, England. However, the rise of the Black Death plague...
Yay!
You like that?
I love the plague, I do.
You know her.
I know her.
In 1348, took its toll on the once bustling village, mainly because people died. But life returned to Finedon when resettlement began somewhere in the 17th century. So, plague and scary dolls. Jumping forward to 1901, a lady called Mary Osier was appointed the village school's headmistress. Mary brought with her a beautifully crafted wooden doll and placed it in a small alcove above the school's main entrance where it could be admired by everyone and keep watch over all the children. Exactly. It's believed that the doll came from a mysterious merchant who Mary supposedly met on a quiet country walk one afternoon. He gifted Mary the doll, took no payment, walked away, and was never seen again. I'm sorry, but there's something wrong then. People don't just give you dolls and then scarper.
Yeah, here you go. You have it.
Right.
Ron.
I'm not taking it back, bye.
Yeah.
Good luck. I mean, would you take a doll from a stranger?
No, because I'm not stupid.
No, seems like
Well,
you're not
in
stupid.
certain aspects.
No. But I just feel like, first of all, I don't know how I'd come across a strange merchant, but I suppose at the time you would. Just walking
That
along,
was a thing.
minding your own business. Hello, strange merchant.
You have goods I shall take.
Yeah, just randomly pull out a creepy doll and then run away. So mere days after the doll's arrival, apparently, inexplicable strange events began at the school. One morning, a naughty student was sent to the school's front lawn to spend her break alone, and as she moped, a gust of wind came from nowhere and knocked her backwards. She grazed her head as she fell, and within seconds the wind was gone.
Question.
Right.
Had anything weird happened to the owner of the doll before? Like, not the merchant, but the woman that then stuck it above the school? Because if it did, she'd have known that there's something not right with it.
I think by the sounds of it, as soon as she got it thinking, oh, I'm going to put that above the door of my new school. You know?
Yeah. Oh, so, yeah. Pretty much straight away she put it.
Yeah.
Okay.
As the schoolgirl composed herself, she saw the doll peering down from where it was displayed. It waved its left arm, scroll in hand. So the doll had carved doll had a scroll in its hand. It didn't pick one up from nowhere, and juddered violently.
Okay. Sorry.
Right.
If there's a giant, if there's a giant gust of wind, that would have made it move. Maybe.
The tight wooden lips were puckered. I hate that word.
Again, question. How far up was this doll? Could she tell that they were definitely puckered? Or was it just... It was bright and...
Well, I'm kind of envisaging sort of like an old school with like a pitched kind of like little walkway in and then a little alcove.
I know it was above the door. But how big was the door? The doorway could be
amazing.
Quite tall. And if there's a little alcove...
Children, not giants, so...
Yeah, so they would have been shorter anyway.
Don't know what the school...
So how she could tell the doll's lips were puckered, I'm unsure.
I don't know, but I really hate that word. And apparently, its eyes glared with sadistic pleasure.
Again, it's wooden.
Yeah. Frightened and shaken by what had happened, the girl ran home, never to return to school. Allegedly, the girl stood by this encounter until her dying day. So she maintained this happened. Or it's a really weird excuse to not want to go back to school. Sorry, I can't go back to school and do any work because there's a creepy doll there with puckered lips and it's juddering at me. And wind came and knocked me over.
I mean, there was many an excuse that I used to get out of PE and to get out of school, for that matter. That was very creative, if it is an excuse.
Very creative.
But if the doll did do these things, puckering its lips and juddering... And
I've never heard anything or anyone described in those terms. Juddering and or puckering. I hate it.
I've heard of, like, puckered skin.
Yeah.
And eyes, I mean, it's wooden. They are going to be glary. The eyes.
Yeah.
Did it have, like...
Goose might be able to get a picture of it. It's the haunted doll of Finedon.
He's just coming up with Finedon.
Haunted doll of Finedon. Fine, and then Don. No, not Finedon. Fine, as in yes.
There we go.
There you go.
Dutch doll.
So,
yes,
it's quite big. It was quite big, so yeah, you would...
But it's got very small features. You cannot tell. Its lips are already puckered. And its eyes are squinty, so...
So many other students also say they saw the doll move, and the school record book is reportedly filled with pages of doll-related accounts. It was said that at night, the students who lived as boarders would hear the sound of tiny feet scurrying through the hallways. Doors would open on their own, and scratching sounds could be heard on the floors. Some students claimed to see tiny wooden hands and beady wooden eyes peering around open doors before they were violently slammed shut.
But I also think if you're at boarding school, you play a lot of pranks.
True. And there's floorboards and doors are creaky and these...
We should ask Steph and Julia. They went to boarding school.
They did. Some even heard piercing and blood-chilling cackling around the school. Reports suggest that these shrill cries even disturbed lessons and caused panic among teachers and students.
Not being funny. Have you heard Julia laugh? No offence, Jules.
Oh.
That is loud. So it could have just been another kid.
Could have been. I mean, I would have just got out of there, I'm afraid.
Mark's just it terrifies him when he hears Julia laugh. Love you, Jules.
I love her laugh. It makes me laugh. In fact, your laugh makes me laugh. And
My
his
laugh
makes me laugh as well. Anyone laughing makes me happy. You know, as long as you're not juddering and puckering your lips at me, we're good.
How do you pucker and laugh?
I don't know what that was.
Oh, well, I'm never doing that again. That was horrific. I'm so sorry. Please don't do that as a visual on YouTube.
Thumbnail.
Yeah.
After so many reports of spooky occurrences, staff and parents decided to examine the doll during a school holiday, convinced the doll must have a mechanical feature that would explain everything. But after being removed from the alcove above the door and a thorough search, nothing untoward was found. Just a wooden doll.
Well, if it's haunted, there won't be anything untoward found.
True. It was suggested that the doll may have been used in witchcraft rituals or even acted as a vessel for a malevolent spirit. So, taking no chances, the doll was permanently removed, locked in a chest and placed in the school's basement.
Burn it. Yeah. Don't leave it in the school.
No, that seems like a silly idea, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're just making it angry and leaving it there.
Yeah.
You know?
Noobs.
For a hot minute, the school was calm, with no more spooky situations. They even used the doll's new location to deter bad behaviour from the students, with threats of detention in the cellar. Don't you be naughty, Bobby, otherwise you'll go and hang out with that doll in the basement.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't like that very much.
No. So, normality was returned to Finedon until one day when a young student was sent to the basement to receive some slates. Because they used to write on slates back in the day, for those who don't know what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Chalk and slates. As the student grabbed what she needed, she heard an almighty crash behind her, and the chest that imprisoned the doll had fallen from a shelf and hit the floor. Then the chest started to rattle and shake. A series of violent thumps followed, and the chest started to move towards the girl. Sounds could be heard from inside the chest, getting louder and louder until the student booked it out of the basement. And she was so terrified and shaken by the incident that she too left school and never returned. Again, quite a good excuse not to go back to school.
Especially if someone's already used that excuse.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh.
Hang on a minute.
How do I make it worse?
Exactly. Eventually, the basement was closed, leaving the haunted doll down there. And although the creepy happenings decreased, people still reported an uneasy atmosphere in the school. And despite the basement being closed off, strange laughter and voices were still reported. I'm just waiting for questions.
I don't have any at the moment.
Okay. So many years passed, but the unexplainable paranormal accounts persisted until a new head teacher had the doll removed from the school altogether and placed it in the local church. Here it was fixed tightly to the west wall, hoping this would put a stop to the hauntings. And the school did return to a state of calm. All that remained were the ghost stories passed down through generations. That was until the 24th of January in 1981, when the parishioner unlocked St Mary's Church to prepare for his daily duties and found that the doll was missing and the hooks and bolts that secured it to the wall were strewn on the floor. The church had been locked and bolted the previous evening and all the windows were secure, so there was no sign of a break-in, and he was the only person who had a key.
Why would have it kept dormant for so long?
Who knows?
Maybe he did use it as a sex doll.
Ew! Who, the priest? The man?
Yeah. But, you know, to cover his tracks.
Oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
Spooked locals searched the village but couldn't find any trace of the doll. But to this day,
I'm not reading that out.
it has never been found. So it's still missing.
I feel like you would have heard some stories since.
Because
Unless it's really tired, it's just gone into retirement.
it's like, oh, I'm so sick of
Let's
this.
go back to the depths of hell. It's warm there and
Yeah.
I know people.
They put me in a box, then they nailed me to a wall. I'm done. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm done. We'll go somewhere else. So there's another great article on there by Stephen Arnwell about the Gallows Hills in England.
Ooh.
Yeah, knew you'd like this. Anything with plague,
Dark history.
gallows, witches, Victoriana, all that kind of thing. So I know you'll know this, but this is for the listener, and I'm probably going to say this wrong. Gibbeting or gibbeting is known as hanging in chains. Was a gallows from which dead or dying bodies of criminals were hanged on public display to deter others against committing crimes.
I can't remember. Gibbet, I think.
Gibbet. It seems like it would be gibbeting. We'll go with gibbeting.
Yeah.
This was also used as a method of public execution, with the prisoner in question being left to die of exposure, thirst, and or starvation. So brutal. So there are many gallows hills in England where gibbets were set up.
Yeah, it's gibbet.
Well done. I should have probably looked at it before. But the Busby Stoop Inn in particular actually still has the noose and gallows to the front of the pub.
Is this where you go through a really tiny alley?
Oh, I don't know.
No, I think there's a pub in London and you walk through like this tiny alley.
So this is called the Busby Stoop Inn. Busby, B-S-B-Y.
Yeah, I think it's in London. There's a pub and you walk down this tiny alley and then it's like on the waterfront and it's got a noose hanging.
Oh.
Still.
Wow. Stoop. Busby Stoop. Ooh. There you go.
How do you spell that? Ooh. Oh, yeah, no, that's not the one. But there
That
is
can't be it because it's not got the thing. That. Sorry, it's haunted. If you go,
You can leave that in.
go to the right, the one to the right of where you just were. There you go.
Ah. Oh, that could be the one. No, because there's no water.
Sorry about that. I just elbowed something. Anyway, so apparently the former landlord, Thomas Busby, was a drunk, a bully, and a general heathen. One day in 1702, it said that Busby lost his temper and bludgeoned his father-in-law to death.
Oh, dear.
And was sentenced to be hung on the other side of the crossroads from his pub. But before his execution, Busby was allowed to have a final drink. So rising from his favourite perch, he cursed the chair, declaring that anyone who sat in it would endure a premature and violent death.
Look, mate, just because you messed up.
Right? It's like no one's sitting in my chair. So we're sort of going from gibbets to haunted chair, but I just thought this was quite interesting. So across the centuries, people have taken it upon themselves to test this curse and sit in Busby's chair.
But why? Because if there is a curse, why would you want to invoke that? Like, what?
Just stay wondering. Don't test it.
Let it be a creepy story.
Yeah,
That you're then going to tell your grandchildren to be able, or you'll take them to the chair.
exactly.
Why would you test that?
I have no
theory?
idea.
Why?
So apparently a builder unwillingly sat in it.
Also, why keep the chair? Why not burn it?
Maybe they thought whoever burnt it might be cursed, and Goobs is right, it would be a tourist attraction, wouldn't it?
I get that, but...
So this builder unwillingly sat in it and shortly afterwards fell through the roof of the house he was working on. So that's not
Did
very
he
good.
die?
Didn't say if he died or not. During World War II, some Canadian airmen dared each other to sit on the chair, and then their plane crashed, killing everyone. As a
But
result,
loads of planes crashed in World War II.
As a result, the chair was hidden in the cellar, But one day a tired beer delivery man spotted the seat and decided to take a rest on it. Following this, his lorry crashed, killing him. So now the chair is on display in nearby Thirsk Museum, fixed up high on a wall to stop anyone sitting on it. Although I then went on to find out that apparently it's not in that museum anymore. It's apparently in an Indian restaurant nearby. So...
Sorry. How do they know it's in an Indian restaurant?
I don't know, they just said it was. I was like, okay.
Well, clearly it's fine then.
Right? Because surely loads
Unless
of
it's
people-
not a very popular Indian restaurant and nobody by chance hasn't sat in it.
Maybe. Apparently, the last public gibbetings in England were those of Jarrow miner William Jobbing and a Leicester bookbinder, James Cook, in 1832. Gibbeting was abolished 2 years later in 1834. However, public hangings did continue. Mm-hmm. They were often large-scale events, drawing huge crowds. Charles Dickens wrote a letter to the Times condemning it all. Mm-hmm. The horrors of the gibbet and of the crimes which brought the wretched murderers to it faded in my mind before the atrocious bearing, looks and language of the assembled spectators. He called many who attended the executions thieves, low prostitutes, ruffians and vagabonds of every kind, indulging in every variety of offensive and foul behaviour, fightings, faintings, whistlings, brutal jokes, with tumultuous demonstrations of indecent delight.
Sounds like Dickens.
Does, doesn't it? So he was not impressed. From 1868, hangings took place behind prison walls, and the UK's final official hangings to date took place in 1964. So yeah, that's it for today's spooky chat.
You've given me an interesting fact.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, you are very welcome because I've not written one down here. But honestly, this website, just to reiterate, it is Paranormal News Daily. It's really interesting because it's got true crime on there. It's got paranormal stuff on there. There was all sorts of things about witches and parapsychology. It's very, very interesting. So I will be going back to that.
Yes. So and creepypasta.
And creepypasta. Yeah. And the fact that they have the urban legends and they then try and sort of think, well, where did that come from? Where did it start? What was the origin story? And what does it mean?
I like that, yeah.
Girls don't hang out with boys in cars, you know?
Yeah.
And then the Hookman killer was invented, apparently.
That's what I've got to say to that.
I'm going to use that. I was going to say, I'm going to use that in a sentence today.
But you've got to have the pause first.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, what's she going to say? And then...
Air just escapes from your mouth.
I mean, I really enjoyed that episode. That was good.
I'm glad.
That was really good.
Yay.
That's put a smile on my face.
Oh, I'm glad. It was very funny. I think whenever I think our conversations can't get more random, you say something like, maybe the Slender Man just wants a jacket potato.
It's an underrated meal, is all I'm saying.
Oh, honestly. So the vegan chili I made, I made loads of it because I can't make food for one person, two people. We had leftovers on jacket potatoes last night. It was amazing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yummers.
So I do love a jacket potato.
I am quite a classic potato topping girl.
Okay.
So I do like beans and cheese, obviously vegan cheese.
Yeah.
And Squeaky Bean do the most phenomenal fake tuna.
Do they really?
It's expensive. It's like £3 for 120 grams.
Right.
But that...
What's it made of?
I can't remember.
Oh, I'll have to
Not
try
real
that.
fish, obviously.
Yeah. I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah. So there used to be something called tuna, which everyone raved about, and the Squeaky Bean had brought this out, and dear God in heaven.
Okay.
So good.
That's actually, being a vegan, that's the only thing I miss is fish.
Is it?
Yeah, so I might try that.
No. Yeah, you should. You should. It is so good. I also don't mind beans and coleslaw.
Oh, I do love coleslaw. Yeah. Now we're just making each other hungry.
I haven't eaten today. To be fair, I could probably do a couple of days of fasting.
Could you? I don't think so. I don't think that's very
No, I
good.
could do with.
No, you couldn't.
Oh, God, I could. It's getting very, very...
No.
Oh, it's wheat protein, Helen. Well, at least it's not
Oh,
soy.
no, but I've been forcing myself to have wheat. So I'm okay because I've made myself eat bread. I'm okay with bread now.
Okay.
I still can't manage pasta, gluten pasta, but bread is fine because I've just through sheer stubbornness I've gone no.
Screw that.
So I am trying to overcome that.
There's very few gluten-free vegan breads.
Yeah.
And even fewer gluten-free vegan good breads.
Exactly.
Good vegan gluten-free breads
Yeah,
is what I meant.
I concur.
Yeah. So.
Do you have a get in the bin, a get in your pocket, and a random fact for today? I've literally written them, but then not written anything next to them.
Get in the bin is losing a wonderful pudding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get in my pocket is a decent vegan roast dinner.
Yes.
I mean, I'm really excited. We're gonna possibly for Christmas we're gonna go stay with Alex and Mikey, and Alex cooks a really good roast.
Okay. I thought you were going to Menorca.
Tenerife. No, I think we're gonna see Alex and Mikey now, aren't we?
Cool.
They're very festive, so it will force us to be festive, which I think we need. So at Beck Hall they did a roast and they actually did a Yorkshire pudding.
Amazing.
And wherever you go for a vegan roast, they don't do Yorkshire pudding. So I was in heaven. I asked for an extra one and they gave it to me.
Good for you. And well done them.
Thank you.
For doing that.
Are we doing a random fact straight away as well?
We'll do Goob's pocket and bin. So pocket is vegan hotels.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to go to a vegan hotel. Bin, roadworks that take forever to complete.
Oh Lord, yes.
My get in the bin. Do you know what? I'm going to go with traffic lights on roadworks.
Oh.
So there's where I'm living now. There's traffic lights. Then there's roadworks with traffic lights. Then there's some more traffic lights.
Yeah.
So it's just chaotic.
Yeah.
Get in my pocket. My Freelander. It has been
A godsend.
a godsend moving house. I couldn't have done it without that car. And
Can you imagine doing it in the shed?
Honestly, can you imagine how many trips I would have had to do?
You'd have had to put stuff on the roof and tie it down, and then it would be even more. It would be even lower, and you wouldn't actually get anywhere.
No, exactly.
No.
So yeah, that was that. And random fact. Have you got a random fact?
Yeah. So, what was that noise? Oh, Mark and I visited Edinburgh for one of his birthdays, and we stood in the in the place of the last public hanging.
Did you?
There's it's really difficult to miss, isn't it? Or was it the place where all the public hangings took place? So I think it was the last one, wasn't it? And it's like 3 gold, like bricks, if you will, and it's really hard to miss. You would just think it was something on the floor,
right?
And it kind of looks like a elongated H. So we have stood. Yeah, it's easy to miss. Sorry. So we stood in the place of last public execution in Edinburgh. That's what.
Love that.
Yeah. Mark's interesting fact: he once had an awkward encounter with a Sky Sports news presenter at the urinals in a pub. And by awkward, what does one mean? I'm also waiting for you to write that. Helen, random fact.
My random fact is I'm actually going to ride your coattails. Is that a sentence? I once saw Graham Coxon in a pub in Camden, but I was too awkward a person to go and say hi to him.
So Mark's awkwardness was he had to say hello to him because he was on his TV an hour before. I didn't think it was welcome.
Did you say hi to him while he was peeing?
Oh, that's why it was awkward. Do men talk to each other at urinals? He invited you to his table.
Did he actually?
Did you go? He had a lovely chat.
Oh, that's
at
good.
the urinals whilst you were crossing swords. Oh, at the table.
Brilliant.
It wasn't welcomed, but then he still invited you to his table.
Oh, that's very nice of him.
So maybe it was welcomed.
Yeah.
You should pee at urinals more often. Mm-hmm. See what happens.
I'm so sorry. So don't worry about editing that out. I'm just very clumsy. I have no spatial awareness, and I think my balance.
To be
is
fair,
off.
they're quite close to us.
They are. I might have to move.
I mean, it looks lovely, but we have to have it quite compact.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to have to put a coaster here for coffee because I can't be doing this.
No, and I need to bring the coasters there. I've got them on the side. Mm-hmm. I just forgot to bring them. I do have them.
I keep talking away from the mic.
And also, the glass for these is inside there because I didn't want it to break when I moved them.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We don't need that.
Okay.
There's pumpkins on there.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Park Lane Studios, for doing all the sound, all the visuals, the lighting, the producing, the technical stuff.
Mercy buckets, soldier.
Yeah. Basically, thank you for putting up with our nonsense and for then having to edit it all and just,
Just to re-listen to it again.
Yeah. Poor thing. Really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much, Park Lane Studios.
I love you.
And what should they do?
Visit our Linktree at linktree.com/Cars and Macabre, where you will find all of our socials. So that is Instagram, YouTube, Facebook-ish.
We will get around to it.
The merch site.
YouTube, you said YouTube. TikTok-ish. There's a few videos on there. Not many. No. Some.
But you can also comment, like, share, download. Subscribe.
All the things.
Yeah.
So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that spooky chat. And watch out for Slender Man wanting a jacket potato in the park.
Yeah. But if he wants to share your side, I'd just let him have a sip.
Could
just be lonely. He might not have any friends.
Yeah. Perhaps
he wants to join.
If he's got no features, he can't probably see where he is either.
Yeah. And, if he hasn't got a mouth, he can't smile, so you think he's mean, but really he's just a misunderstood soul.
Yeah, okay, we'll go with that.
He just wants to join in.
Yeah, Slender Man is just someone who wants to join in. And on that note, stay spooky, bitches.